Terry, actually Storm's currently sitting in Mark's chair. So I've got Storm in Mark's chair, and this foot belongs to Martha. So yeah, right, so let's get started. Now this is so easy, especially if you are UK based, because Evening Mail, this is just the length of A4, which in England is 11 and stay there, 11 3/4 inches. Can you just stop, please? So it makes it very, very easy to put together. But basically what it is it's 3 pieces of card that we're going to cut and score. And then we've got these sort of gussets, because you've got to have a book with gussets in between here. And the way that we've going to put the pockets together is just so easy. This is just going to be so quick. So kind of a gatefold sort of arrangement, very much like if you did it with me quite a long time ago, probably a year ago. We used the Graphic 45 Lost in Paradise papers to make a kind of a book that was oh, hang on, I can probably reach it, hang on, this one, similar sort of arrangement. So if you want to go back and make one that's a little bit more involved and a little bit bigger, go and look. I think this is called the Trifold Folio, and it's in our OneDrive. So have a look in the announcements section, and you'll see a post called Minibooks and where to find them. And in there's pictures of all of the books, so you can just go and find the bits that you need, the classes or any written tutorials or cutting guides or whatever. So it's a kind of a similar arrangement in terms of the way that it goes together, but this is easy because we're just going to use 3 pieces of A4. Evening, Michelle. Right, okay. Oh, it'd be lovely with Alice. Righty-ho. So what I want you to do first is remove cats and other associated detritus, and grab 3 pieces of A4 if you're in the UK. Letter sized, I think, is roughly similar in the US. And your trimmer, which is going to be fun because the cat's in the way of the trimmer. Can you mind, Marth? Marth, move, Marth. Marth, move. Excuse me. Can you just move your arse? Thank you, dear. Good girl. Right, and you need 3 pieces of A4. Now, A4 card in the UK is 8 1/4 by 11 3/4. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to cut the 3 pieces. 2 are the same size and 1 slightly smaller. So we need to cut 2 at 5 3/4 inches across. Hold on, just let me take my glasses off. Mark's still next door, so he's not going to be able to type this in. I don't know whether Wendy or Mel could type in. Could you type in the sizes for me till Mark gets back? That would be great if you wouldn't mind. Hi, Beatrice. Bye, Martha. She's had enough of me already. 5 3/4. Hold on. Can't see what I'm doing. I need to put new things on my cutter because I put them on upside down, which Mark expressly told me not to do. Never mind. So if you're in the UK and you're using an A4 bit of card, you're just going to basically take an A4 piece, and all you're going to do is cut it at 5 3/4 inches across. You don't need to cut any length off it, but the length, for those of you who aren't using a bit of, no, he's probably eating cake, Louise, if he's got any sense, he might bring me some too, is 11 3/4. So I want you to cut 2 at that size, at 5 3/4 by 11 3/4. This is weird. I don't, what? Oh, I hope he comes home soon. Oh God, he's probably gone to help, and they'll both be banging and knocking walls out. Honestly, most men like football. No, Mark likes knocking walls down. Right, okay, so the third one we are going to cut at 5 inches across. By 10 3/4 inches long. So this one's a little bit shorter, okay? So 10 3/4 inches long. So it's slightly different. Okay, and put it to one side, your trimmer, but don't let it go far because you're going to need it. Pardon me. Right, grab your scoreboard. And what we're going to do first is we're going to score piece number 1. So grab one of the larger pieces, that is 5 3/4 by 11 3/4 inches. And we're going to start by scoring on the 5 3/4 inch side, which means that the 5 3/4 inches at the top, okay? So I want you to score at 5 inches and at 5 1/4 inches. Okay, scoot it round 90 degrees. So we're now on the 11 3/4 inch side, and I want you to score at 7 inches. Okay, so what you've got is you've got a piece of card that has got 2 parallel score lines on the right hand side. And those are at there's a sort of like a 1/2 inch and a 1/4 of an inch gap, and then you've got this score line at 7 inches. Actually, it'll be that way round. We fold it, but it doesn't matter. Right, okay, so grab the next one, which is also 5 3/4 inches by 11 3/4 inches, and we are going to score exactly the same again. We're going to score on the 5 3/4 inch side at 5 inches and at 5 1/4 inches. Scoot it round 90 degrees, and we're going to score on the 11 3/4 inch side at 7 inches again. So it's going to be exactly the same. Okay, this smaller one now that's 5 inches wide, we're going to just score on that on the 10 3/4 inch side at 7 inches. Okay, so that's only got the one score line on it. Right, and we can put your scoreboard to one side. Hi, Christina. Yes, I think we almost went past each other on Sunday. I think we were both up in the same part of the world. Okay, right. So let's start with this dead easy piece, okay? All we're going to do at this point is fold that up. This is the one with the one score line on it. We're just going to fold that up, and we're just going to burnish just like that, okay? Just for now. Because this bit that we've just folded is this bit here, okay? Oh, I've made mine slightly bigger. It doesn't matter. I can always cut that down a bit. So that is this pocket here, okay? Right, now we're going to make these two. And as you can see, what we've got here are these gussety bits. So work with your gusset on your right hand side, but the first thing that we need to do is cut out, I don't know if you can see it, on the shorter bit, because we've got our 7 inches here, which is the height of our book, and we've got this little bit down here where we've got these parallel score lines. We need to cut that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to snip on that score line there, right up to where that second score line is there. And I'm then going to cut that bit out. You can use a trimmer, You can use a knife, you can use your scissors, whatever's going to get you the straightest line, okay? But just bear in mind that this is on the shorter bit, okay? So let's just cut that out. What is he doing? Honestly. Why are you feeling a bit silly, Trish? What have I missed? Oh, watching last night's video. It was quite entertaining last night, I have to say. All right, so these bits, I've cut that bit out there, but I want this bit on that side. So I'm going to turn that over and I'm just going to fold that up there. So that's going to form, this bit here that I've just made is this pocket here, okay? So I'm just going to get my bone folder, which I still haven't cleaned, and I'm just folding that like that so it's straight up, okay? But now what I need to do is exactly the same, but I need to cut this angular pocket. So this is how I'm going to do this. I am going to make this incredibly easy on myself. I'm going to cut out exactly the same bit again. This is a bit long-winded, but it just makes it easy. Okay, and I'm going to fold that up so that what I've got here is I've got my gusset on the right hand side, okay? So basically what we'll be doing is, this is my first pocket and we'll be sticking that onto there like that, and then this final bit will go onto there like that, but we need to cut this at an angle. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this up and we are going to cut this directly point to point, okay? I might have to draw that on because I can just see exactly what's going to happen is going to be that I'm going to cut the wrong bit because, you know, it's me. So I'm just going to give myself a bit of a guide just so I know that I'm doing it right. They haven't taken him hostage. Right. So I'm now going to grab my trimmer and I'm going to cut along that line. So I'm going to make that point to point. And I'm just going to carefully cut that. There we go. Okay. So what I've got now are my three pieces, which I've lost already. I've got this one with the tall pocket. Let's have a look. So I've got, is this in shot? I've got this one with the tall pocket. I've got this one with the angular pocket, which will go there. And then I've got this one with the shorter pocket, which actually I've measured wrong. It could be slightly shorter. It's up to you if you want to take half an inch off that or not. I'm going to leave mine the way it is. I'm not really that bothered. It's entirely up to you. If you want to take half an inch off, go ahead. It's not going to make the slightest bit of difference to the book. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to attach my book together and I want to make sure that my pockets stay closed. So knowing that this book folds, I'm just going to fold on my score lines like that. So I've got a kind of a U shape, and I'm going to do exactly the same on the other one. So that when I come to put my book together, it's going to know how I want it to fold. Okay? So I am going to put my glue on this 1/2 inch gusset at the side. Okay? I don't know what on earth he's done, Mel. Yes, Jill, how's your arm? That looked flipping nasty. It's the sort of thing I'd do. Right, so a little bit of glue all the way down that flap, and I'm going to attach that underneath this bit. So I'm going to jut this bit up to that score line, to the gusset. So make sure that I've got my 1/4 inch gusset. I'm not going to attach it on the score line. I'm going to attach it slightly to the right because I want it to be able to fold easily. So now I can see that my book's going to fold like that. Okay, and I've got my gusset there so that I can add things into it. Okay, evening, Anne. And now I'm going to do exactly the same on this final one. So a little bit of glue on that fold there. Take this final one and I'm just going to add it in to exactly the same place up to where the score line is, but just slightly away so that it all folds in. So what I've got now is my book and it folds in like that. Okay, how quick and easy is that? It just couldn't be any quicker or any easier. All right, so what I want to do now is just make sure that my pockets stay closed. Now you can either glue them all the way, so I'm going to put 2 beads of glue down those lines there, just 1 on that one and 2 on that one, or if I wanted to I could leave one of them open. This one's kind of come apart a bit from where I glued it, but that it's still fine. You could leave that open, it's up to you. So I'm just going to pop a little bead of glue, not too much, just like that, and I'm going to glue that down. So now I've got an enclosed pocket. Okay, a little bit of glue just on that bit of the pocket there, not on the slant, just on the side, just like that. Ah, sounds like we have company. That would be good. And then a little bit on either side of the pocket there. You've lost your seat to Storm, darling.
Oh, she'll stay downstairs.
No.
Oh.
Although Mel's done a good job in your absence.
Oh, is she?
She has.
Is that Auntie Mel?
Oh, yeah, that's Auntie Mel.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know Storm's come to... Did you go and have a look what he was doing?
No, he was telling me, but I didn't want to go in the house because, you know, things.
Oh, yeah, things. Oh, yeah, I forget these things.
He has finished for the night, though.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so there we go. So that's the book. That's the base of it made. It really couldn't be quicker and it couldn't be easier. Mel says you can have your job back now.
It's soiled.
It's soiled.
Sullied.
Yeah, something like that. All right, so what we're going to do now is basically we're going to decorate it. So we're going to start with the base decorating. And you don't have to do this the same way I have, but I'm just going to show you kind of how I've put it together. So what I'm going to do first of all is actually just put down the plain papers. So for the front I've used, let's have a look. What have I got here? For the front, I used that one, which I have to say, I suspect is my favouriteest. I do like that one.
Besterist.
Besterist. Then I used that one for there. On the back, I put the squirrel. That one. And then if we put those on first, we'll come and we'll talk about how I've put these bits together. So what I'm going to do first of all is cut them to the size that I want them. So let's just have a quick measure. So each piece is going to be the same size. This is kind of easy. So it's 5 inches, but it should be 5 by 7. Yes, it is, thank goodness. So when I'm covering, what I do is I cut 1/8 of an inch smaller. So I am going to cut my pages, and I'm going to start with this one at 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. Now I want to keep this chappy as central as possible. Oh, this isn't any fun on this one.
What's that?
Well, I've managed to wreck the I'll have to do it the wrong way round. This is going to confuse me. I need to redo my acetate because I managed to wreck it.
Oh.
5 7/8. Where's that? 5 7/8. That's there.
5 7/8.
Yeah. No. 4 7/8. Oh, I don't need to turn it round then. No wonder I'm getting confused. Oh, let's turn it round. Yeah, I know. It's thrown me completely. I've had to talk to myself. Right, 4 7/8. Right. That is going to take the edge off one of his horns. So I'm going to do it. You're going to love this. I'm going to do it at 4 15/16 because I can. And then the top bit is going to be 6 15/16. I love it. And that's going to go on the back. So let's just make sure that that fits, which it does. So that's going to go on my back. So let's cut out the others. For my front, I want this one. So let's see how I did that. How much did I? Well, you can't really see much of it, so it doesn't really matter too much where I cut. So let's go for there. Now, looking at the way I've done this, I think what I did was I cut the top off it so that I could put that on, because this is kind of piecemealed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this top bit off. Because I'll use that in a minute. And then I'm going to cut this down to 6 15, I don't know, whatever. And then when I glue it onto my book, I'm going to glue it like that. Okay, does that make sense? Right. So final piece for now. How did I do that one? Oh, I just chopped it. Right, did I? I did. So that's going to be there and there. Okay. Right, if you want to, you can always ink the edges of your paper. Just make sure that when you start gluing things on that you're gluing it the right way up. Too many times I've glued things the wrong way round. But if you want to ink the edges, then absolutely do. I'm not going to. I didn't on mine, but that's not to say that it won't look lovely if you do. So, a little bit of glue. And let's stick this onto my front, which, if I'm lying it down, is going to be the far right-hand side, which sounds a little bit odd, but that is actually going to be the front. So I'm going to make sure that I've got this centered with a little bit of a white gap all around the edge, because that looks pretty. And that's my front page. So when I close it up, that's my front. Okay. Now I've got that little bit that I cut off, didn't I, to go on the top. So I might as well just pop that on now as well. Which way round was it? That one. Okay. So while I'm here, I'll just pop that on the top. But although we have to be quite tight with the papers, you know, if you want to mix and match these and do it differently, by all means do. Because you've got quite a bit of opportunity. Right, so next one is my squirrel.
Them big squirrels.
Them big squirrels with the bells.
The bells.
So let's pop that on there. I'm leaving the gussets free. If you want to pop some paper onto your gussets to cover that, by all means do. If you want a really beautifully finished off version, right, so let's pop that one on there. Okay, so now I've got the base done, the flat bits. Now we're going to work on the inside. So the papers that I chose for the inside were the Lady on the Horse, that one, the Stars in Your Eyes for Karen, and the Lady by the Castle. So I don't know if you can see here, but I've actually trimmed my papers so that the picture carries on. Normally I'd say to you, if you're going to cut up, you know, to go in a pocket, that you need to kind of cut an extra ½ inch and tuck that in your pocket. This isn't that easy this time, but I don't think that it really shows that we haven't done that. We want to keep the picture flowing all the way across, if that makes sense. So this is how I did it. Once again, I cut my papers to size. So I want to choose where I'm cutting to give me the best kind of effect of the paper. So I'm going to cut it at 4 5/8 again by 6 15/16 or something, wasn't it? Something like that. And I'm going to do that with each of them. Okay, now this one, don't know how much in shot this is. This one, I'm going to have to trim it twice so that I get my picture kind of centralised. So if I cut, hang on, how wide's that? So that's 5. Oh, I'm being dim here. I might have to keep trimming this. There's got to be an obvious way to do it, even though I can't think what it is. Right. And I want to keep that top bit. So I'm going to cut it down at the bottom, which was, what, 6 15/16. Okay, so I've got that one. I haven't cut that terribly well. It's not quite as centralised as I'd hoped it was going to be, but it doesn't matter. Once I've put my, what do you call it? Photo mats in, you won't even see. Right, so I'm going to cut this one down again because I want to make sure that I've got my lady in. So I'm just going to cut it down a little bit. Make sure that I've got her in. And a little bit of the castle as well. So I'm just going to snip a little bit off there. So I've just cut off the bits, so I've still got the bits that I want to see. And let's just chop that bottom bit off there. And now I'm going to cut that at 6 15/16. Okay, so I've got my 3 pieces here. Now what I need to do is measure where I need to cut. So this pocket here, in fact I'm going to do it on my pocket just so I know completely. That bottom pocket measures 4 5/8 of an inch. So if I lay my piece on there, I can either cut it at roughly 4.5 inches, because you see there, that's up to where the pocket is, or once I've got it in exactly the right place, I can make a little mark with my pencil at the edge of the pocket and then line those two bits up to cut. And I've done that so faintly I can't even see where they are. Oh, for goodness sake. There we go. So I'm chopping her head off basically. But now, when I come to pop that on there and glue it on, it'll still give me that little white gap, but that bit will fit there, just right at the edge. But I might have to trim it a bit to get it in, because unlike the pockets with the flaps, we've actually glued that down a bit. But that still leaves you that whole picture, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to glue that on. So if I glue this one in place first. Actually, it might have been easier if we'd stuck these on first and glued the pockets down afterwards, but it doesn't matter really. So let's just get that in the right place. Okay, and now that one, I'm just going to slip. Let's just make a little mark. I'm just going to cut it ever so slightly. Where's my scissors? Just a little snip off the corner. See if that fits in now. Well, I'm going to need to cut some more. Okay, so I've just snipped off the corners. And now I'm going to glue that down into place. So, glue everywhere now.
Is it working tonight, yeah?
Yes, it is. I don't know what you did yesterday, but it's done the trick.
I used my magical fingers.
Is that what you did?
I did.
Oh, good. Okay, so that's now got our picture still remaining so that we can still see it as a full length picture, but we've actually matted the pocket and can now slip things in there. So now we're going to do the same with the middle. So I know this fits, but what I'm going to do is make a little mark with my pencil, which I put down somewhere safe and lost. Hang on. Ouch.
What do you use to make a big mark?
To make a what?
Big mark.
A big mark.
Something like that.
Oh, okay. So I've just marked where I want my cut to be. And now I can pop this on.
Bippity pop.
Corner like that. And that should fit in quite nicely there. I'm just going to have to snip a little bit off there just so it fits in. So I'm just cutting a little tiny sort of part square. Can you see that? So now that will fit in there like that. Actually, that might be better at an angle. Let's go for an angle. Right.
Rectangle.
So let's pop that in to my pocket. Just get that in the right place. Put it down. There we go. And that's matted that middle pocket. Now we've just got this one left. So let's see where we need her to be cut. Make sure I've got her in the right place. Make a little mark. Oh, we see. Oh, got it. And let's chop her in half. What was that?
My chair.
These marks are at completely different sizes. What am I doing? Oh, that's because I didn't look in the right place. Oh, for goodness sake. Okay, so that's her chopped. Right, I'm just going to put that to one side for a minute or two. No, I haven't cleared up from last night. I've still got bits of last night's class lying around. So I apologise profusely because they're all going to get mixed up now. Okay, and then the final bit, let's just make sure just cut out a little nick there.
Snippy snip.
Snippy snip, yes. Where's Storm gone?
Sulky.
Oh, Martha was everywhere she didn't need to be when we started.
Oh, on the table.
Yeah, of course she was on the table. Okay, so let me just slip that in there. Yep. Oh dear, that didn't sound good. What was that?
I don't want to know.
Oh dear.
Storm.
It probably was Storm. I think I'd rather have had Derek banging. It sounded a whole lot safer. Right. Okay. So there we go. That's all matted front and back. Are you keeping up all right? I'm going to put my glasses on. Ouch. And just make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, I haven't got a clue what's going on either. So how are we doing? Are we good? The one good thing about, I heard you say about you wish you hadn't stuck your pockets. No, don't stick your pockets. It's easier if you don't. Stick them afterwards. It doesn't really matter. Just ease of. That's because I haven't had a drink, by the way. I'm not coughing for any other reason. I forgot to bring a drink up with me, so you know, no panic. Right, okay. So, do you want to carry on for a bit and do a bit more decorating, or have you had enough and you want to finish off next week? What would you like to do? What do you fancy doing? Who's using other papers, and if so, what are you using, so I know what I've got to look forward to seeing? You've all gone quiet. Carry on, please. All right, Louise, I'm happy with that. We can do that. The only thing is, I seem to have mislaid. I'm glad you can't see my desk.
Oh, they can do.
Well, no, I know I can't. That's the whole problem. I've got the Halloween book here, but I've lost all of my wooden bits and stuff. No idea. We might have to guess a lot of this. Right, okay, let's start with that bit, because I don't know where my wooden bits are. I'll have to go and search for them. So we're going to start with the inside bit here. Now, one of the things that I've done is I have used some of the pearlescent papers and the vellums, and I've made paper ribbons with them. So I don't know if you guys have ever made paper ribbons before. I'm making them sound an awful lot more technical than they really are. Night, Janet. See you soon. So what I've done is I've taken strips of my papers, and here's some from earlier that I've written notes on. And what I've done is I've just ripped them. If you tear towards you, you get that really nice edge on there. So I'm just going to tear this towards me as well.
With your left hand or your right hand?
Hey, does it matter?
I thought so.
Oh wow, Ruth, I bet that's amazing with SeaWorld. So I've got a piece of, this is some of the sort of pearlescent-y vellum-y stuff that we had. And all I've done to make these bits of ribbon is I've just concertina folded them. I quite enjoy doing this, by the way. So all I've done is just fold them like pleated, I suppose. Just folded them and pleated them, one on top of the other. Until I come to the end. And then I've got a nice bit of pleated paper ribbon, okay? And that's the nice thing about this, actually. Hi, Sarah. This all kind of holds itself together. Now, you can either glue it on like this, or what I did was I took my sewing machine and I sewed it. So that's why I've got all of these little bits of thread. There's nothing stopping you hand sewing it, or you could stick some double-sided tape behind it and then maybe draw on it to look like stitches. It's entirely up to you, or you can just leave them as they are. But I'm going to make a couple because I want to put these on my book just for a bit of added interest. So here's my blue paper. Let me just rip that into a ribbon. Short, sharp movements and you'll have much better control over your paper and how wide you want it, okay? Much better control, rather than just ripping it all in one go, okay? So now I'm just going to take this and I'm going to fold it in exactly the same way. I'm just pleating it. So easy to do. And it just gives you such a nice little bit of texture for decoration on your books. Hi, Tracy.
Did you tear that right-handed?
Probably. Why?
I just one.
Oh. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear these cats?
They're running up and down stairs.
They're just mad. They've got all overexcited because I was saying about Martha's been shut up for a couple of days and now she's gone mad. So I've got a couple of paper ribbons there. That one's a bit long, so I'm just going to chop that off at the end so I can use that elsewhere. Okay?
That's beautiful.
So I've got some paper ribbons there. I want a bit more of the white, I think. Storm's shouting now. I can hear her.
No, I think that was Loki.
Oh, was it Loki? Well, one of them's shouting. That's you.
That's Loki.
Yeah. Funny how the boys in our house make the most noise. Oh my God, he's so noisy. Same here, Kirsten. Right, so I've got a couple of my paper ribbons that I'm going to glue onto there. And what I've done as well is I've added some interest. So I'm going to have to dig now into my fussy cut bits, and I'm going to use my castle, and I'm going to get my big fairy. So let's have a look. So there's my big fairy and my castle. But just remember, guys, you do not have to follow the way that I'm doing it. I'm just trying to give you some ideas. For goodness sake, don't feel for 1 second that you have to follow what I'm doing at all. I might not be able to follow what I'm doing in a minute because I can't find... Oh, there's my ribbon. I can't find my castle. Oh. Where is it?
Where's it going?
I don't know. Oh, and I used that cut out Beautiful Moments out of paper and that Once Upon a Time. But where's my castle? My castle. I've lost it. Maybe I didn't cut it out. I must have done. Ah, got it. Right. Another little tip for a bit of texture.
Don't put anything in somewhere safe.
No, I don't even know where my somewhere safe drawer is anymore. Oh. Use the edge of your scissors to just rough up the edge of your paper. You can get fancy tools to do this, and yes, I have them, but I keep finding, just because it's so much easier because I've usually got my scissors to hand, I just use my scissors just to rough up the edges of the papers. You get exactly the same effect. Okay, so what I've done there is I've just roughed up that edge. So that's going to go under her head. I've got my paper ribbons. I've got my fairy who's going to go there. And then once I've put her on, I'm going to come and put these other bits on. So I'm going to start gluing. So I'm going to start off by just gluing and putting that there. Now, if you want to, you can kind of slip things underneath. So you'll see quite often when I'm decorating that I only put a bit of glue in the middle of something. So that makes it nice and easy for me to, you know, to slip flowers underneath or whatever I'm wanting to do. So let me just put some of my paper ribbons on there with a bit of glue. Like I said, remember, if you want to, you can always sew these. I'm not getting my sewing machine out now. I can't be bothered. I'm sure you don't need to see me sewing. Right, so now I want my fairy to go on there. I'm going to put her on so that her head covers up that Once Upon a Time because I don't want to see it. But to sit her on top of all of this texture that I've got, I really need to lift her up a bit. So if you can see this, she's actually lifted slightly off the background. And to do that, what I've used is good old trusty bits of chipboard, grey board, whatever it is that you want to call it. Just the odds and ends that we chuck away. I keep mine. and I use it to add a bit of height and texture to my decoration. You can use foam, pads, you can use foam strips. I gather that craft foam is also very, very good for this, which actually I can see that it totally would be. I don't mind craft foam. I think it's quite good. In fact, actually, here's another tip for you as well. Craft foam. Use it instead of paper to do die cuts. You get such a lovely bit of added interest and texture. It's absolutely something you should do.
Give it a go.
I think it looks really good. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue on the back of that grey board, and I'm going to attach my fairy to my book. And like I said, I'm going to put her head over there because I don't want to be able to see it really. So I'm going to put her down there, and I'm just going to hold her in place. She's not quite straight, is she? I'm just going to hold her in place while she dries. Okay. Right, if you've got something like, I don't know, a Wink of Stella pen or something like that, you can always go over and make her wings all shiny and glittery. I've just used on mine, and I'll come to this in a bit, but I've just used some of this glitter glue that I've got lying around. Stickles are great. Cosmic Shimmer I grabbed just because it was there, and it was a bit more silvery than the stickles that I'd got, which I wanted to use.
Should the bottom of the pleated paper be a straight line?
How do you mean?
Jill neatness.
Do you mean underneath, or it can be the pleated paper can be any way you like. You could use those craft scissors, you know, that do the fancy scallops and things. Yeah, and crinkly bits. You could always use those, and then fold that from that. I bet that would give you a really nice edge. So I don't know if you can see here, mine kind of curves up a bit, but that was more about the way that I folded it than the way that I tore it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a handful of those flowers that we've been cutting out. So I'm going to want a bigger one, and I'm going to want some of the small ones, so I'm just going to grab some, because there's hundreds of the darn things. And now I'm just going to decide how I want the rest of my page to look. So I can slip my poinsettias underneath. I can cut them, so I might have a bit more to use on a different bit. So I've got that bit that comes out there. I've got another bit maybe that's going to come out in, I don't know, I'm going to put it there, that direction. A little bit of glue. And I'm just literally, I'm just sticking it on. I'm not thinking really hard about it or where it's going to go. I'm just adding it in. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these two bits. So I've got my Beautiful Moments and Once Upon a Time. So to do that, once again, I am going to put them up onto some chipboard. I've lost my Beautiful Moments. Does anybody know where I put it? Oh, crikey. It's gone for it. Oh, there it is. It's upside down. That's why I can't see it. So let's pop that up. I'm going to just pop it there.
Pop it there.
So it's overlapping my fairy a bit, so it's kind of all cohesive, for want of a better word. I like to add things in so they all kind of draw your eye to one place. Let's pop that there. I'm going to pop 2 layers on. Actually, it should be on this side. I've done that side. Oh well, near enough. Okay, and then I'm going to pop that one underneath like that. Okay, is that vaguely straight? Yeah, that'll do. And then I've got my little poinsettias.
Not the poinsettias.
That I'm just going to add on down the bottom, just to make it look all pretty. Pretty. Oops. And you can just build it up how you like. You can pop your little flowers wherever you want them to go. Just make it look pretty.
Well, says it's good to see you've got some left.
What?
Flowers.
I haven't put any on yet. I've hardly started. I might just put one in her hair.
Oh,
Pretty. Yeah. Right, so that looks nice, but let's make it better. So this is where the mixed media bit comes in. If you've had a kit, you've got some of these weird little plastic bits, and I'm going to show you how I did it, but that's as far as we're going to go tonight, because you have to leave this to dry, because we're going to use PVA and glossy accents over the top. I've got to find my glossy accents.
well, you've got a week.
So yeah, it'll take about, it usually takes about 3 odd hours to dry. So if you grab your...
I'm in New Zealand, so it's
Hiya! Hi, Anne! Good morning. Oh, we're just getting ready for bed. Right, now we've got a problem, because I really have lost my...
Mojo?
No, not my mojo. My little bits. Hang on. I'll just look into this mess. We might have a cascade of disaster in a minute.
An avalanche of papers.
Yeah. Darling,
Yes, my dear.
would you do me a favour? Oh, I found them. They're here. It's all right. You don't need to do me a favour.
Yes, what do you want?
No, I don't need anything now.
Oh.
Right, so, oh look, fussy cut flower. Right, so this is what you, oh, there's another one.
Never reading.
I know. This is what you got in your kit for these little icy thingy, what's it bits. So this is how I put them onto my book. You don't need too many of them, which is good. And I'm just going to put ordinary white PVA, and I'm just going to blob it where I want my ice crystals to go. Okay, so I'm just blobbing it on. I'm going to take some of these ice crystals, and I'm just going to scatter them on top of the PVA. Okay. I'll lift this up to the camera in a minute so you can see it. I have no idea what these are called, because I was wandering around at the paper suppliers while they were getting me order together, and I just found 2 bottles of this stuff on a shelf, and I just thought, oh, I can use that for something. But that was all they had, and I don't even know what to call it for those of you who haven't got any. but they're kind of like, just like little plastic pellets. I don't know if you can see, but they're just plastic pellets.
Injection molding?
For injection moulding, yeah.
That's what they look like.
Well, yeah, I suppose it is. Right, so all I've done is I've added some of these plastic pellets onto my PVA. I'm just going to shake off what I don't want. Okay, so that you can see here how they're just stuck on with PVA, but they still don't look really like ice chips like I've got here. So all I did was I took my glossy accents, which I'm hoping is going to come out, and I just blobbed.
Do you sell those crystals?
No, because I ain't got any more left. I wish I had. Otherwise, you.
Well, we're going up the week.
Yeah, but they haven't got. I'd had the last 2 bottles.
Ow.
I know.
Ow.
But we will have a look. We'll see if they've got some. I'll buy them. So I'm just blobbing my glossy accents over the top, and it'll look really blobby and crap. Don't worry about that. We can live with that, because once it dries, it won't look blobby and crap. Okay?
That's a relief.
So, at the moment, it doesn't look like anything, but I've got my glossy accents over the top of my plastic beads. And what I'm going to do now is I am going to leave that to dry. Once it's dry, I'm going to take my glitter glue and I'm going to dab it over the top, but I'm also going to dab some glitter glue in other good places, like on my flowers, little bit maybe on my fairy wings, just in places where we need a little bit of sparkle, because we all need a bit of sparkle, don't we? So just in a few places, I've just blobbed a bit of glitter glue. So my fairy now sparkles a bit. Okay, now I'm going to leave her to dry because it's going to be very difficult to do anymore whilst those bits are drying. But now you know how I've done it, you can go ahead and you can do the front cover as well. Now the front cover, you can see I've popped up bits onto the chipboard. But what I've also done is I've used the wooden shapes. So wooden shapes, I've used the girl and I've used the wooden beautiful moment shape on the front. Okay, if you want to, what I've done underneath here as well is I've torn some of the blue and white pearlescent papers and I've put those as a strip right across the back there before I've added on any of my paper ribbons. I've lifted up some of the flowers onto the chipboard, and I've added in my sparkly bits. You know, these what do you call them? The ice crystal-y bits.
Plastic ice crystals.
And yeah, plastic ice crystals. And I've used some of the big poinsettias and I've popped them underneath. The pictures are all in the group. In an album, I think. So you should be able to see. And then I've just finished it off by adding lots of sparkly glitter glue. So that's your homework for this week. I want you to finish these bits, because these are the only 2 bits that have got the sort of the mixed media on, shall we say. So we don't need to worry so much about what's going inside. So next week what we'll do is we'll finish these bits off and we will make our photo mats. So are we all right? Are we all okay with that? Do we know what we're doing?
Do we have some of these kits left?
We do. There are a couple, there's not many, but there are some left in the shop. I think if you go on, well, Mark will find them for you, but if you go onto my main Facebook page, the Carl Summers Workshops page, I know I put a post up today and there's definitely a link in that. There's a couple of the small kits left. They're £17.50, but because they will go in a small postal box, it's cheaper than putting it. So if that's all you're buying, it's a flat £20, which is makes it a little bit easier on the postage side. Okay, so thanks guys. I'm looking forward very much to see what you guys who are not using the Winter Tales papers make of it, because I think this is just perfect for quick and easy presents for people. It'll be absolutely fantastic for, you know, Christmas gifts for family and such like. You could use it instead of a card maybe. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what you're doing. So I will be back with Mark, I hope, next Wednesday for the next, that would be good, for the next large Winter Tales. As you know, I am now a free woman. As of 3:30 this afternoon, I am unemployed, self-employed even, which means that I am going to have loads more time to bring you classes and new stuff in the shop, and I have got so many plans of things that I want to do with you. But this weekend we might be a little bit absent, because next week early we will be getting out the Halloween kits. 1st of October your sub boxes go out, and we want to do a stock take, because I found truckloads of stuff that isn't even on the website yet, so that probably needs to go on. So we might be slightly out of the way this weekend, but we will still be around. But don't be surprised if it takes us a little while to get to you, because we're packing boxes and sorting out boxes, which is one of my favourite things to do. So see you next Wednesday. Any problems, let us know, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thanks guys. Bye.